What's up, guys? This is OddsAre here, bringing you guys. I am bringing you guys my game versus Kurt. It's supposed to be out today, so I gotta get this going really quickly. Anyways, let's just get into the game. You can see his team, you can see my team, and we're going to get right on into it. So this is a very, very interesting match. Hopefully it does join up a little bit quickly so I can just get this on and going for you guys, so you guys can see my perspective and why I did certain things. So he does end up leading Blastoise. I led off with Musharna, fearing some other stuff. I wasn't really thinking he would lead Blastoise, but it does kind of make sense, like if I want to lead Gliscor or something like that. But he never really showed Ice Beam, so maybe he doesn't have it. So there's that. I think he just wanted to lead it so he could rapid spin away rocks really effectively, something like that. But I do lead Musharna. He does withdraw the Blastoise, and I will click Trick Room on this team. He does bring up Mega Kang as well. So so I am a little in the back game. I'm fearing that he's going to either go for like a Surf or something like that, because Mega Camerupt is a very obvious switch in here. So I do make the prediction and go into Druddigon, and he will decide to switch out into Blastoise once again. So he will basically go out into Kang and then go right back out into Blastoise. So he just made a double basically, and he does switch here. I do go out into Druddigon, and I am going to just toss up some Stealth Rocks just to get some nice chip on his team. If he rapid spins them away, it's perfectly fine. Gives me a free switch into Bulu, which I will do right after this, because he is 100% going for rapid spin, I do believe. And I do switch out, yes, and it will be Bulu if I'm not mistaken, and it will be. So there is that. I have a pretty decent matchup versus most of his team. He will just end up clicking rapid spin on my switch in, which is perfectly fine. I will just have to set up rocks later if I need to at a later date. He will click protect, seeing what I want to go for, and I click Stone Edge, wanting the Rotom to come in. Honestly, I'm predicting Rotom to come in on me, because that's honestly a very good switch in versus me, because it can basically live anything I want to go for, and anything like that. He does end up clicking protect. I didn't want to overprotect and he stay in as Blastoise and maybe click Scald, burn me, something like that. So I just click Wood Hammer, and it does a fairly decent chunk to this Latias that he switched in. So that does about 40 to 45%, so that is very, very nice. And he withdraws this Latias here, and I clicked Z Continental Crush because it would most likely kill the Latias from the range from the HP it was at, and I didn't think he would attack, so I decided to recover or anything like that. So I decided to attack with Z Continental Crush, and he switches in Rotom, which is a very, very nice play, and I will do. And it should kill it at any HP, no matter the bulk. Even if it was max defense, I would be able to kill it. And he will reveal the Charty Berry in a second once this animation finishes up. But this Continental Crush is very substantial, I guess, because it basically weakens Rotom to the point where it's no longer useful in a few cents. I should have probably switched. I probably should have been able to kill it, but he is packing a nice and powerful tech, which will basically bring his HP back up to full because of my switching. So I end up going into Dream Sack. He will just click Overheat, and doing about 20 to 25% to me, closer to 30, but this thing can still easily live it, get a little bit of leftovers recovery, and I am perfectly fine just to do whatever I want. I'm going to click I believe I'm going to click Trick Room because that is my best play. He clicks Pain Split, basically giving his HP all the way up to full, showing me that he is a offensive Rotom. He is he doesn't have that big of an HP stat because of that, so I do have to watch out for that. And Rotom is basically at full HP, which is very, very unfortunate. And I don't have the Z Continental Crush to go on anymore, and I go out into Mega Goat, which is my Mega Camerupt. Of course, he goes for the Volt Switch, and it doesn't affect Mega Camerupt. He decides to Hard Switch and bring out Latias. So here is where I basically Mega Evolve and click Hidden Power. Hidden Power would have done enough to Rotom to put it in red or almost kill it at the range I was at. And I just click Hidden Power. It does about 30% to Latias. For some reason, I thought Hidden Power would actually have a chance of giving me stat boost, but this Mega Camerupt has Sheer Force, so that does not actually work like that. So this turn, I'm still faster than Latias. I decide to click Yawn, making him either think I thought he might recover or something like that, or at least live a hit. So after I clicked Yawn, I am forcing Latias out, so I can pretty much click any move I want here. So I decide to click Fire Blast because that does the most damage to Latias and pretty much the majority of his team. Fire Blast does about 40%. This is showing me this is a max special defense Blastoise. If he did not have leftovers recovery, I do think I had a chance of... sorry about that. I accidentally clicked a button, but if it wasn't for that leftovers recovery, I do believe I had a chance of killing with Earth Power. But since of the leftovers recovery, I was not risking the, I think, a very bad favor roll in his favor. The rolls are returned, and he decides to switch out. I will decide to switch out as well into Bulu. So there goes Bulu. He's back in, and I'm in a very bad position here because Rotom can OHKO me with Overheat, and I can't do anything about that. So I do have to switch out into Musharna here and be perfectly fine with that. Musharna, it has enough HP with the leftovers recovery and the grassy terrain. I'll be able to easily live this, and with that, these next two recoveries here, I'll be able to live any one hit from this Rotom, and I can easily just click Moonlight on it and be able to save this thing later on for Rotom if need be. So he just clicks Willow, burning me, thinking he probably was thinking that I would switch out into something that could possibly deal with this, but I just decided to click Moonlight. I'm not sure if he was actually predicting me to switch or just wanted to get residual damage off on this Musharna, canceling out the leftovers or the grassy terrain, but there was that. Dream Sack does get a little bit of recovery here, and then he'll take the burn damage in a few seconds right there. And I'm basically kind of forcing the Rotom to switch out. He will go out into the Blastoise, and I will decide to click Trick Room once again just to deal with the Blastoise a little bit more, if I would just say. I was hoping to go back into the camera because it actually does quite a lot to Kurt's team, but I was a little misfortunate. I do believe that this Musharna doesn't actually carry any moves actually. I do end up switching it out and going into the Ugly Doggo, which is Druddigon. So it is able to take the Scald pretty effectively, and gladly I don't get the burn here, and I'm able to go for a attack on the Blastoise because I am slower than Blastoise normally, and I do believe I did a native speed nature with Druddigon. So there's that. I will go out into Druddigon and click Outrage. I want to kind of force out the I want to force out the Rabombi, so that can happen if something like this will, because I don't want him going back into Rotom or anything like that. Actually, he would not go out into Rotom. I just want him switching out Blastoise, and I want to get enough damage off on Blastoise where something like anything my other mons can possibly deal with it more effectively. But I do go for Outrage, doing a good 50% to Blastoise, forcing him to switch here, but sadly he does click Scald and he will get this burn, so my attack is doing almost nothing to this Blastoise now, and he does get a little bit of leftovers recovery, and I am forcing him to switch out here into Rabombi, like I was saying. So he does switch out into Rabombi here, and I will click Outrage once again because I am locked into it, because that's how Outrage works, and it doesn't affect Rabombi, and I am forced to switch here because I still want this thing for some other things. I will go out into Bulu here and be able to deal with anything. Like if he wanted to set up webs or something like that, it would have been a problem at the time, but I do have Defog on Gliscor and other stuff like that, so I'm not super worried about that. But he ends up just going for Quiver Dance, and he will get +1 special defense, +1 speed, and +1 special attack with that, of course. So I am figuring out that I can barely live one Bug Buzz if he ended up bringing that move. So I decide to, alright, I'm going to just stay in and click Stone Edge, and he will opt just to click Moonblast. So I do live that with about 53%, and I will get some I'm going to get some HP back by the Grassy Terrain and like that. So I'm going to be at about 63%, and he will bring out the Scolipede. So at this point in the match, I don't have any counters for Scolipede. Honestly, if this was a setup Scolipede, I would be in pretty big trouble. So if he wanted to Swords Dance on me or something like that, I wouldn't have anything at this point. I would have to attempt to use Trick Room and then go out into Mega Camerupt and hope that I can 2-hit KO the Blastoise at that point. I think that would be my only chance at this game currently if he was a setup Scolipede. But he does reveal that he is a subset with a Baton Pass later on, but he will click sub. I am forced to click Stone Edge 100%. That was my only play. I had no other choice but to click Stone Edge during that match, during this turn and during the next few turns to come. So I do just click Stone Edge. I land it. He will lose his sub, and the process will repeat for another 2 turns. So I will gain a little bit more HP back from the Grassy Terrain. He will gain a speed boost with a little bit from the terrain as well, and he will just click sub once again. I am forced to keep clicking Stone Edge. I land once again gladly, and we keep repeating this process until he decides it's worth it to switch out. So I do believe I land this as well, and we go through one more round. He clicks Substitute. This is my 3rd Stone Edge in a row, and I do have to land this. Sadly, I do miss, and this is a little bit of a turning point in this game, where if I landed that, he would have to go for another and another, and it would just be until either I got him low enough or he has to Baton Pass without a sub. So either one would be very beneficial to me, but since it did happen, he will go for the Baton Pass this turn, and I will click Stone Edge once again, and he does bring out Mega King, and I click Stone Edge, breaking the sub gladly, and I have a +3 speed Mega King on the field, and I have Bulu right in front of it. So Bulu, I believe, I thought I could live pretty much any hit from Mega King, but sadly, I was mistaken in this. He does Mega Evolve, of course, and I opted to stay in because I thought I could live a hit. I should have calced a little bit, but honestly, I didn't have a switch into Mega King. I could have possibly went Druddigon, but that was not an option really at that point, and Bulu pretty much served his purpose at that point of the game. So Bulu does faint here, and I will go out into my Lucario, trying to force it out, and I'm going to make one of the biggest and ballsiest plays of the game, and I probably shouldn't have, but it ended up working at the long run. I am slower than this Mega King, of course, and I assumed he would attack me here, and I didn't think anything of it, but I am hoping that he won't. So I do click the agility here on a +3 speed Mega King with possibly power up punch in the back or something like that. So I do have to be very cautious of that, and if he is able to set up that +2 speed with a +2 attack, then I would end up losing this game. This turn pretty much turned the tides for me. I made a very good read with this. I clicked agility on the Mega King, and I am able to outspeed this Latias. I wasn't really sure at the time if this was a offensive or defensive Latias, so I am just opting to, alright, I have to do this because this Latias will be coming in versus me, so I do have to be very, very cautious of that. I was very close to doing the Lucario versus this thing, so I wouldn't take any unnecessary damage, and if I did, it would have been I would have been opted to save this a little bit easier because of how this from how I played this game. I would have wanted to save this thing and possibly went into Musharna on the Rotom switch in a turn, but I do just go out into this. He clicks Psychic, doing a pretty decent amount to me, and without that defense drop I got from Crunch, I would not have actually went for Crunch again, because that would have been a roll on his side, and I was not honestly really wanting to risk that at this point in time. So I ended up, alright, since I got the defense drop, this is a easy KO. I calculated this for a second, and I didn't realize at the time that that he would be doing so much damage to me, but I end up clicking Crunch here, and then I will take out the Latias, and it becomes a 5-4 at this moment in time, I do believe, and he will just go back out into the Rotom. I am faster than the Rotom because of the agility, and I just want damage off on this Rotom. No question about it, I need damage off on this Rotom. So I do that. I click Close Combat, and it brings it down to red. I had a chance of killing. I think it was a very small chance in my favor, depending on the set and depending on if he sped crep anything or not. So I was pretty sure that this Lucario was going to die, sadly, but this Lucario here does go down. It was not in vain. It picks up 1 kill, plus it puts massive damage on Rotom, forcing him to switch out into something and allowing my Greninja to get in here for free. So that's exactly what I do here. I bring out Greninja. I know this thing is not scarfed, and even if it was, I do live and overheat at -2. So I do end up just clicking Hydro Pump. He is not scarfed or anything like that. Oh wait, no, he was Charty Berry, so I wasn't having to worry about any type of item, so I could easily just kill him with a Hydro Pump. I could have went for a less power move, like something like Deep Pulse or something like that, Dark Pulse, sorry. And I ended up going with Hydro Pump because I think I can pretty much sweep the rest of his team with Greninja if I wanted. So I end up staying and clicking. I end up clicking that. He goes out into Blastoise, and I will click Hydro Pump once again, thinking that it will do enough damage to 2-hit KO. It will at this range. It has a chance to 2-hit KO from the last point of damage, but he did show lefties, and he also showed hidden power electric because I also have a Mantine and a Greninja, so he thought it was beneficial to have HP electric on this thing, and because this thing also can carry ice beams, and he won't have to worry about that for worry about Gliscor with this. And Scald honestly does quite a bit of damage to Gliscor anyways, so there's that as well. But with this, I am forced just to click another Hydro Pump because I need the damage, and I will live another HP electric here, so that's not a problem at all. So I do just click Hydro Pump, and I am now a 2-hit KO because of the leftover recovery. I 100% know I will not kill. It would have to be a crit, and it honestly doesn't matter even if I critted because I'd still kill this Blastoise off. And I'm not taking any hit from Mega King anyways or Scolipede, so I'm not really worried about the HP that much. So he does get a little bit of leftovers recovery back, and I am forced just to click Hydro Pump again because I am Specs. If I didn't say that already, I am a Specs Timid Greninja. I should have been honestly modest because it would have done a little bit more damage to Blastoise, and I would not have had to take that unnecessary damage to Greninja. I decided to switch out here because I was fearing something like Fake Out, and I really did not want to lose Greninja to a Fake Out or anything like that. He decides just to click Power Up Punch, and I do, and it does take about 25, or takes a little bit back from the Rocky Helmet damage, and this is currently in range of Greninja's Hydro Pump now. That was another reason why I switched out, because Hydro Pump would not OHKO at the range he was at, and I do believe this was enough to do it. And with one more attack from him or me, I was able to kill it. But sadly, he does show that he is a Wish Mega King, so he probably has a decent amount of HP investment. So I was probably off at the range of the Mega King need to be for me to kill with Hydro Pump. So I do have to be very cautious of that, and with that, I do just keep with that. Sadly, I do have to just keep clicking Superpower here because I don't have any other choice. I do have to hope I crit, or hope I don't know that it somehow Wish doesn't go through. I don't know how that's possible, but I guess if he attacks me, he would be perfectly fine. I do go down and attack, and he uses Wish, but it does fail. He doesn't want to take any unnecessary damage, and I honestly think the better play would have been to take the unnecessary damage there, because I have no Greninja is not in range. Maybe he's thinking I was a modest set, and if I was modest, then he would have been able to then I would have been able to kill him at that range with the Wish added on, possibly. I don't exactly know, but with my calc, that like where he was, even with the minus 30% or whatever with the 2 Rocky Helmet damages, I would have been perfectly fine. If I was rough skin, it would have been a little bit better for me, but I think this was fine. If I was rough skin and I was Mold Breaker because of the Rotom, because if Rotom gets out of hand or something like that, I can just easily bring in Druddigon, click Earthquake, and then be able to kill the Rotom that way. That's why I was Mold Breaker, just to have another insurance for the Rotom, because my team doesn't really deal with it too well, because like I had to use Lucario and Bulu just to weaken it, and if it wasn't for stuff like that, then I would have been kind of out of luck versus the Rotom. So I needed something for it besides Bulu with Stone Edge, because he's probably going to be faster than me, and if I have the Trick Room up, then Bulu could possibly stand a chance versus Rotom, but he's never going to switch in Rotom on a Trick Room turn versus Bulu, only unless it's late game and he has to. But I'm getting out of the picture. I do lower my attack once again, so I'm at -2 with a burn, so I'm at like technically the -4, like I'm like -4 attack. So there's that. He does get the Wish off, and he will be at a pretty decent HP, and I will end up clicking Superpower. So This superpower does crit, and that was honestly a very crucial crit, and I needed that crit actually. With this play, I think he thought I was like a modest Greninja, like I said earlier, because he ended up attacking my. Honestly, I don't know why he actually attacked here. I should have asked him, but I never did. If he just clicked for Wish here, he is out of range of my Dragon because I'm at -3 and burned. So the only thing would kill him would be a crit. And there's that. So he would be able to live another Wish. Maybe he was thinking that it would bring him in range of Greninja, and I can just auto switch in next turn, but he'd still get the Wish back plus another Wish off. So I'm not exactly sure what his plan was. Maybe once I watch this video, I will get a little bit more insight on why he attacked it, but I'm not exactly sure why at this moment. But he will end up deciding to kill me this turn, and giving me the necessary chip off where my Greninja will be able to kill Mega King effectively. If, like I said, if I was Rough Skin or something like that, I would have been able to do a lot more damage to the Mega King with 4 hits every single time it wants to attack me. Like with that Power Up Punch, I would have been able to, it would have hit it 4 times with about a little less than probably 50% damage, because 2 of them did about 30%, so 4 of them would probably do about 40% because they're not all equal. Rocky Helmet does more than Rough Skin. Rough Skin is 1/8 and Rocky Helmet is 1/6, so there's that. And with that, Mega King is at very low HP. He gets a Wish back, bringing him to about 60%. So this is in range of my Greninja from every calc I've seen. It should kill if he's no HP investment. If he has some HP investment, it's a chance to kill, and I was wanting this chance. So I do end up landing it, and honestly, Kurt, I can't call this hacks, but I do land 5 out of my 6 Hydro Pumps, and I land, I think, 5 out of the 4 Stone Edges. So I did get pretty lucky with all the moves I hit. So there wasn't that much hacks. It's just I had more luck than Kurt, and I was able to kill Mega King. Since Greninja is faster than Scolipede on turn 1, I am perfectly fine just to click Hydro Pump once again, and hopefully land and kill Scolipede. So I do win 3-0 versus Kurt. It was honestly a great game. There's a few turns there where it was very close and was tipped either way. The one turn where I clicked Agility on Lucario instead of just clicking Close Combat to kill Mega King was a very big decider, and after that I had to just clean up the game. Another huge turn was from Druddigon critting at the turn I needed to crit. Honestly, sorry for that crit, Kurt, but it happens. It's Mons, and I just got it at the right time. But anyways, hope you guys do enjoy week 2 versus PointBlanke or Kurt. His link will be down in the description below, and I will see you guys next week whenever I face Phantom Base, our new coach added in that replaced top. I hope to have a great game with him, and hopefully I'll get it on time this time, because I am 2 days late. This is currently Wednesday and it should have been up 2 days ago. Sorry about that. Anyways, about that, I don't know what I'm saying, but yes, this was week 2, and I will see you guys next week. Later.